Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host, Advocate Tulani. Let us begin the week by taking a glance at the weekend's events, especially the burial or the funeral of Advocate Tulani Mngomezulu and the fallout coming from that. The business of the Daily Fix is to bring you news analysis, not only news, but the core business of the Daily Fix is to bring you news analysis. Now, news analysis takes many forms. But whatever happens in and around the sense of Meyiwa investigation and trial, or any other issue that we'll cover, will always go beyond the headlines. Social media these days is not very popular. There are people who want to bury their heads in the sand and pretend that, don't take social media seriously. Social media is this and that. They vilify social media for all sorts of reasons. But I live in the real world and I'm not naive to what is happening around me. I am fully aware and cognizant of what is happening around me because I live in the real world. I live with people. I interact with people. I know what people are thinking. I know what makes people angry. And when people are angry, they need to articulate that anger. And that anger can be articulated or expressed in a variety of ways. And one of those ways is through social media. Let me go to the Mngomezulu funeral just to give you a taste of what I'm talking about. We saw the booing of any mention of Judge Ratha Baloyi's name. We saw the booing of the mourners when anything to do with prosecutor Baloyi came up. The mourners gathered there would have nothing to do with these people. Now, when I looked at this issue, I said to myself, Tulani Mngomezulu was an officer of the court. Tulani Mngomezulu died while he was involved in the sense of Meyiwa trial. In fact, I think he was the most senior advocate among those who are conducting the defense, for the defense, for the 5 accused persons. But strangely enough, when Tulani Mngomezulu passes on, the presiding judge in the trial, Justice Ratha Baloyi, did not attend that funeral. And I'm not aware of him having tendered any apology for not attending Tulani Mngomezulu's funeral. The same goes for Advocate Baloyi. One would have expected that Baloyi, or at least a representative from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, would have been there on behalf of the prosecution. None of them turned up. I thought it was all in bad taste. The honorable thing and the right thing to have done under the circumstances was for these people to have attended that funeral. And that they snubbed it, because what can you call it? It is nothing but a snub. Raises a lot of questions about their own relationship with Advocate Mngomezulu. Was this perhaps a show of what they thought of the man? What are we to make of their non-attendance of his funeral? Well, your guess is as good as mine. But I think it does not bode well, or it does not reflect very well for them not to have attended that funeral. I don't know whether they attended the funeral, they would still have been booed. But my guess is they would still have been booed. But anyway, that was in bad taste. Let us look again at the issue. If you tie this issue with the disparaging remarks that Justice Ratha made some 8 months ago about black lawyers generally, when the same issue of non-attendance or the inability to attend court by the defense was in issue, he made some very disparaging remarks and attributed, the absences that he was seeing from his court to race. In other words, he was saying essentially this is what black people are all about. And by implication, white people are not like this. Now, I would have thought that, the judge would have made up for, because he did apologize for that and, retracted everything that he had ever said. But I would have thought that he could have made up for that by, at least attending Advocate Tulani Mngomezulu's funeral to say, I'm the judge in that trial. Here I am, to bid farewell to one of the fallen officers of the court. I saw none of that. And that is rather regrettable. Now, another issue is, these issues are not just side shows. They are not just side shows. Some side shows can actually end up being central to the whole show and being the show themselves. We cannot just ignore them. The fact that, people were booing there and were not happy, well, it is not for me to say whether it was right or wrong. But in my view, and in our own African culture, I think we should have, let sleeping dogs lie. If these particular people don't attend the funeral, so let it be. We would all have rightly made our own conclusions about their non-attendance. But those are side issues, like I've said. But the side issues sometimes, turn out to be the real issues as time goes on. This initiative, the Daily Fix, is about the real issues and the side issues. Because you cannot talk about the issues without, and then blind yourself to all the, the side issues that go along. For every issue, there's a side issue. I will now, in the next episode, remember I'm frantically trying to get hold of T4. And I've been promised that I'll be talking to T4 sometime early next week. But in the meantime, I've secured a contact. I will not disclose the name of the contact at this stage, who was actually responsible for the opening of Docket 375. The second docket that says there were no intruders into that house. Now, this particular individual has got all the facts. He is personally responsible for having opened Docket 375. I would like me and him to have a discussion around why was 375 opened in the first place, when there was already that other docket that said there were intruders in the house? Who opened 375? Where was it opened? And where is the docket now? So that as we pursue this Meyiwa story, we must know what the fate of that docket is. You see, because a docket is open for a purpose. A police docket is not just opened to be shelved away and forgotten. A police docket is the result of, an investigation. And any proper investigation will lead to the prosecution of those involved in the commission of the crime as disclosed by the docket contents. So we must know where this 375 is, so that we can take it up with whoever has the custody of 375 and say to them, what do you intend to do with this docket? Confront them with the real facts and say, you are in possession of a docket. What do you intend to do with this docket? Take them on from there. So I'll be having a chat with this gentleman, and I'll bring you all the details of it. While I wait to talk to T4 early this week. So there you have it. The fallout is rather nasty. The fallout from the Mngomezulu funeral is rather nasty, viewed from the point of view of the non-attendance of the presiding judge and none of the prosecution, or all of the prosecution gentlemen. But let us forget about that and move on, because the side issues sometimes must not, take center stage at the expense of the real issues. The real issue here is who killed Senzo Meyiwa and why. But if we can only establish who killed Senzo Meyiwa, then I think we can perhaps explore the why part of it. That is the core business that I'm into. So I'll be bringing you information about, the discussion that I've had with this gentleman, or the talk that I'm going to have with this gentleman, from the horse's mouth. Look forward to that explosive information. And let me round up today's episode by saying, thank you for the views that I'm seeing. Thank you for the subscription that I'm seeing. And above all, thank you for the comments that I am seeing coming from you. I am overwhelmed by the number of positive comments coming from you. I hear very encouraging words. And I am now getting emboldened more and more, to pursue this initiative. And God willing, and with you behind me, we will get to where we intend to get. Having said that, let me say once more, thank you for the views, and please kindly subscribe to the Daily Fix. Thank you very much.